Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Exterior. My name's James Downton and today we'll be talking about episode 2 of Astra Lost in Space. Overall, this episode was a ton of fun. We get some stunning animation, some great music and sound effects, new visual effects to see on screen, and the overall vibe of the episode was very sort of jolly, uplifting, and quite different from what you would expect from the setting in which the characters are all finding themselves in. As we all know from episode 1, they're lost in space, with no food, hardly, no communication to the planet where they come from. All they have is each other and a spaceship known as the Astra. But despite all that, they're all acting very lively and positive. Well, for the most part they are. So then this episode, we mainly focus on Katana, Quilterline, and Funi, as the gang land on their very first planet, known as Vulture, and we immediately find the characters amazed by the scenery, looking out like this stuff looks absolutely stunning from an animation point of view, but they do also find a dragon-like creature. And after looking at it, Ares ends up calling it a Tur-gon, because she points out that their nose looks like soft turtle shells. And it's worth to note that in this episode, Ares was the most positive, liveliest character, and she made this episode so much more fun. Only 2 episodes in and I'm already loving the character of Ares. It's just her positivity and just shines through the episode itself and makes you want to smile while you're watching her. Even in this part of the episode, where she calls it a Tur-gon, she finds Yunoha basically spaced out and she knows that Yunoha hasn't said a lot. So she tries to spook her out by shouting boo really loudly, and this does start with Yunoha and she makes a comment about her being loud, or louder than she has been. But what did make me laugh about this as well is that the communications comm in Ares' helmet has been fixed, so everyone else with their helmets on, because they all have them on because they don't know if it's breathable air, and they're all sort of annoyed and kind of saying, don't shout that again, and making jokes about wanting to break Ares' communication system again. You know, a bit of comedy, and this episode has a lot of comedy, but it all has some great stuff for the 3 characters that I've mentioned thus far. When we get to the kind of centre of the episode, we find out that there's a team's formed and everyone has to go off and do their own sort of tasks. So we have the team of Ares, Katana, Charles, Quilterline, and Luca, searching for food within an unknown forest because they've never been there before. And after some great scenes involving Ares basically being really happy and jolly like always, Luca and Katana being carefree and creating weapons out of stuff that look like tree branches. No one really knows what's edible or what's not. So they're just picking up random stuff. We see Katana trying to act like a responsible team captain and a reliable one as that, thinking that he knows everything. He even states that we should look for nuts and berries because they're safer than, say, mushrooms or anything else. Well, in reality, he really has no idea what he's doing. This is where Charles comes in and shows that he's got great knowledge of plants and wildlife. And we also see in this scene of Quilterline being like the overcautious, the scared one, and the overreacting character. So we already know that Quilterline as a character is quite sort of uptight and she likes what she knows and doesn't want to put herself in any danger. But despite all this, despite all the great animation, despite the music, the sound effects, the laughter, the voice acting, the great scenes that we're now witnessing, all good things must be interrupted, as we have the sphere from episode 1 return while they're in the forest, and they escape thanks to Ares' memory, because remember, she's got a photographic memory. Later on in the episode, Zack does ask if going through the sphere again would take them back to Mukpak, basically shortening their journey by a lot. Katana states that it's unlikely, as all in the centre of the sphere, he could only see the centre of the void of space. And, well, we don't know if that was confirmation as to whether or not that's possible, but it's very unlikely that that's the case, otherwise it would be a free ticket. Why would it have swallowed them up anyway? Who knows? We don't know anything about this sphere. And then right after this, we learn a bit about Quilterine's past, because Quilterine and Carstner get into an argument about, Carstner's recklessness and Quilterine's personality, and basically it gets heated. Carstner storms off saying that he'll be captain if he kills a Tur-gon, while Quilterine runs off because she's angry and upset, and she does shout at her sister, telling her that they're not really real sisters because she's adopted. So we learn from Zach that Quilterine's past, and it turns out that her past is based on her personality. Is based on her past because it stems from her upbringing, which most anime characters is kind of logical thinking, but oh well. She's never known love from her parents, as her father died and her mother works constantly, meaning that the only person to raise her would be the staff members of the house, the maids, and so on. And basically, she was a spoiled child from the get-go because she always got what she wanted. This is why she loses so many friendships, and is also why she acts so hostile towards her sister, as she's never been shown love or affection, therefore she doesn't know how to show it. She tries to imitate her mother, who just always palms her off. Anyway, after this big argument and after this reveal, we get basically a scene with everyone minus Carstner going off looking for Quilterine because they're all worried about her. And basically, Funi gets caught up in one of these trampoline trees that we see earlier on in this episode. And this tree suddenly grows dramatically, and Funi is trapped. She's trapped among loads of other trees with ridiculous distances between them. So, what happens? Well, Carstner shows off his athletic skills, and we're told that he used to be a diathlete, I think is what they call it. Someone who specialises in running, jumping, and throwing. And we also learn as well that this is basically based off of his father and his upbringing. His father was an athlete, and due to an injury he had to stop and give up his dream of being one of the world's best athletes. So he forced his dream onto Carstner. This is why Carstner has so much athletic potential and can do what he's been seen to do throughout the anime at the moment. However, we're also told that once Carstner met his teacher, and this is where it gets a bit dark for his character, he basically gives up on his training to approach the dream that his teacher has of becoming a space explorer. And after the whole mountain incident that we saw about last episode, we see Carstner lying in bed from a young age, covered in bandages, saying that if he was more athletic, had more stamina, more durability, then maybe his teacher wouldn't have died. This is borderline survivor's guilt, and if Carstner has this, and this is the reason as to why he acts the way he does now, then that is something big for his character in terms of psychological progression. Because it's something that is quite a dark, serious topic to talk about. Like, for example, come on, he's what, 11 or 12 at that time? And he thinks that if he was able to run a bit more, or if he was able to be a bit stronger, then he could have saved someone from dying and, he wouldn't be the one to survive. That's not something you should be thinking about at the age of 11 or 12. Anyway, after which, the accident, we then find out that he's still athletic because he went back to his training. He begged his father to do so. And this is why in this episode we see him make the incredible jumps and leaps in order to get to where Funi is to save her. Even despite his recklessness and bravery, or stupidity as some people would call it, he rescues her by taking down a Tur-gon with a javelin, and basically he goes to fall off himself and almost dies because this is a very steep height, but Quilterine jumps in and saves him. And the ending of this episode was it was quite dramatic because we had the makeup of Quilterine and Funi Basically, those two sisters have now bonded a lot more and are now respecting each other and getting on much, much nicer. Like, Katrina's not hostile towards anyone anymore. She understands that she has friends with the people that she's now with, and she must work together with them. Costner is basically told that he has to be captain because of everything that he's done, and Charles is now his second in command, with a potential thing of Zack becoming his right-hand man when Costner finally gets his own spaceship. That's what was hinted in the episode. And then we have a shocking reveal to end off. Everyone's all happy, they're all trying food, they've all got it, and then Zack tells Costner privately that someone has tampered with the communication system. They've just cut it out, meaning that the Astra does not have any. And these cuts look new. Therefore, there is a traitor among the Astra. We don't know who it is. We do if we read the manga, but if you have read the manga, don't spoil anyone who's just watching the anime, because it's a great twist later on down the road. So, that's it for the episode. Again, brilliant, stunning animation, great voice acting work from all the characters, music, sound effects, all fantastic. And yeah, they're all great. Go watch the episode if you haven't, because, you know, this series looks like it's going to be one of the best of the summer season. In my opinion, of course. But you might feel the same way after you go and watch it if you haven't done so. So, with all that out of the way, because I'm rambling, I'm going to end the review here. So, smash that like button if you did, subscribe if you're new, so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you'll have an amazing day, and, well, keep it anime with the anime exterior. Bye.